First time we've had Vince Velasquez here, and so we're just saying, counting down to spring training, staying in the moment, and keeping the mind small, I guess, is that the motto for 2020?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I would say that. Just learn how to just live in the moment, and then just have a plan of attack. Spring training coming right around the corner, and just taking care of the little things.
When the season ends for you, what's the timeline like? How much time do you take off? Do you watch any of the postseason, or are you somebody that separates completely from it once it's all over in the regular year?
That's one of the things I actually started to incorporate this year, was kind of going back to last year's performance and learning how to get better as a pitcher. Kind of makes things a little bit more, make me better as an individual, as a pitcher in general. But I think, I would probably say I probably did that 3-4 times.
Okay.
It's something new, but I think something that would actually help me be a little bit more communicative, especially what I'm trying to work on. But then also, allows me to kind of incorporate that on what I'm trying to pursue and work on. But then being a little bit more communicative with my pitching coach on that end too. But on that being said, it's just taking care of the little things, like I mentioned earlier.
That part of your routine, to add that, is it something that helps you mentally, mechanically? Is it a little bit of both? How would you equate it? Because it is, like you said, a relatively new thing for you.
So I would say mechanically,
Okay.
mentally. This game is nothing but mental focus and whatnot. But if you learn how to mentally focus and mentally prepare yourself, I think physically will all just happen and fall into place.
Can that be tricky, too? Because in your situation, at least, I was looking up recently one of your games. You pitched July 5th at Citi Field, and at that point you had made 10 starts, 10 relief appearances. So to have that back and forth, is that something that kind of throws a wrench into it as well?
I would think so, yes. But you got to be versatile. You don't know what's going to happen in this game. But when you do have that mindset of helping the team win at any cost, I think that's first and foremost, the most important thing. And, at this point, I don't know what really is solidifying my position, at the point, or at this moment.
Sure.
But I do have a plan of attack of knowing how to get better as a pitcher and knowing what I need to do, going into this year's spring training.
You mentioned communication. New manager, Joe Girardi, new pitching coach, Brian Price. What have your interactions been like with them up to this point?
They've been really, I probably would say, more than I've ever had with any manager and pitching coach that I've had.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Good.
In a good way. Developing an actual game plan going into spring training, but then also working on the things that I need to work on. Having bullpens on a regular basis, or not regular basis, but when I do have bullpens. So I think tomorrow I have a bullpen and have something being recorded, and then I'll translate that to Brian Price, because that's something that we've been very vocal about. And I think that's something that's a new step in the direction to learn how to get better, how to better myself.
It seems like you've made strides in that regard, so I'm sure you're excited about jumping into a new year. But when you look at the team itself, does that kind of carry over in regards to the bigger picture with this organization?
Yes, 100%. But just going back to the other question that you mentioned, as far as being vocal and building a relationship with the manager and the pitching coach in general, I think that all kind of carries over. But you got to have that trust, and I think that's something that I'm learning how to establish more so with those, especially those two most important people on the team.
All right, I guess final question, because I'm enjoying this conversation. I could keep going with you, but is that something that maybe you were hesitant to do in years past, where you maybe weren't as communicative, and now you've gotten more comfortable with it, and now you're more willing to maybe go into those things a little bit more with people?
Yeah, I think when someone sees a lot of ability in you, and they talk about what could be taken out of your physical ability and your use, it kind of drives you into that right direction, and I think that's what makes you want to do kind of go the mile, the distance, and I think that's one of the things. Going back to studying myself and watching film is the reason why I actually want to figure out how do I get better, because I know I have a lot of ability in myself, and a lot of people believe the exact same thing. So it's just one of those things that I actually want to do, because like I know I can do it, and the fact that they're embedding this trust in me, will kind of allows me to do those things and want to do those things even more so.
First time talking with you. Really appreciate it, Vince.
Thank you.